Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your #1 source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
A serious crash on the Beltline has closed this part of the Beltline. Coming up, I'll tell you if anybody was hurt in the crash.
A northeasterly wind is bringing cloud cover to us this morning and chilly feeling temperatures. I'll show you when we'll see more sunshine and a warm up.
Big surprise for Carolina Panthers fans right at the end of the NFL Draft's first round.
The Buffalo Bills have traded the 32nd pick to the Carolina Panthers.
Once again, in the first round, the player of the Panthers moved back to get in that round and where some local college stars are headed.
An Olympic hopeful here in the Triangle is working hard to make his dream come true. The job he's working on the side as he tries to get to Paris. Let's just say if you need a good sandwich, he is your guide. Can't wait to tell that story to you. And as well, we'll also get you updated on those big backups on the Beltline from Lake Boone Trail to Wade Avenue. Good morning, everyone. It is 6 o'clock. A lot happening on this Friday. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Thanks for making us part of your Friday here. Yeah, there are some trouble spots out there. Weather is not one of them, though, that's for sure. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Another good mild start here.
It is. It's a nice quiet start out there. As the sun is coming up, we're seeing cloud cover everywhere. It is cool right now, 49 degrees in the Triangle, and we have a wind out of the northeast at 9 miles per hour. And it's really that wind that's making it feel more uncomfortable this morning than it did yesterday. That wind is coming right off the Atlantic, so it has a little moisture with it, and that's why we're seeing the cloud cover. And of course, anytime we have a bit of a breeze, it makes it feel cooler. Futurecast showing gray skies for us right now, but as we head through the day after lunchtime, we may see a few holes in those clouds. Some of the models are showing back to 40 or to 50% coverage of the sky later this afternoon, and you can see Futurecast breaks the clouds up just a little bit later on. So a few peaks of sun later. We may also see a quick sprinkle, but it would be just that. We're not looking at any significant rain. Top of the tower lit in purple for the gray skies, the cloud cover that we're seeing this morning. And temperatures are mostly in the 40s. It's 49 in Goldsboro and Durham, 45 in South Hill. We're looking at 50 in Southern Pines, 51 in Fayetteville and in Clinton. Our winds are coming out of the northeast at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Not currently gusty, but we could see some gusts up to around 15 later on today. Only 60 degrees at lunchtime, so we don't have a fast warm up in our forecast. It'll feel like 60s for most of the afternoon, but we're still on track for highs near records next week. I'll show you that coming up, Ken.
Well, Elizabeth, at 6:02, all the major routes in the Triangle are free and clear this morning, except for this section of the Beltline there on Lake Boone Trail. You can see right now traffic is being diverted off of the Beltline in the westbound lanes because of a serious crash that happened around 3 o'clock this morning. WRAL's Nick Perlin is there in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. Nick, set the scene for us and let us know exactly what's going on.
Well, Ken, there's still several Raleigh police units behind me, and they're starting to still block that part of the Beltline. And you can also see where you were talking about cars being pushed off of the side of the road onto the Lake Boone Trail exit. We're starting to see that exit lane getting very busy and backed up as traffic continues to pick up this morning. But I do want to show you video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker to show you why this is happening. You're going to see a black car with its hazards on. Now, that car actually crashed into a dump truck and rear-ended it. When I was driving by on the east side to get a better look of it, we saw serious damage to the front end of that truck. We're told from officials that this accident was caused by debris on the road, and at some point it led to that car crashing into the dump truck. We do know one person was taken to the hospital. I'm still trying to learn the extent of those injuries, but in the meantime, Ken, this is going to be a big mess for your commute. What's a great way to get around this?
All right, we've been looking at these sensors all morning. We've been seeing exactly what you're seeing out there, and here's what we're trying to figure out exactly. If you can get off of Lake Boone Trail, pick up Blue Ridge Road onto Chapel Hill Road, that'll get you around this mess. And depending on where you are, other options include Wake Forest Road and Six Forks Road as well. But give yourself some extra time because we're being told that this road is not going to reopen until maybe at 7 o'clock this morning. But we'll keep monitoring it here in the WRAL Traffic Center.
It's going to be a big problem all morning. Thanks, Ken. Raleigh police are working to make an arrest after 2 people were hurt in a shooting downtown. Police responded to Haywood Street near Hay Lane about 7:15 last night. They learned that 2 people who had been shot there were taken to the hospital in a private car. A man who was shot suffered serious injuries. A woman who was shot is expected to recover. There's no word on any possible suspects or reason behind this shooting.
How about this? Just before midnight, the Carolina Panthers gave us a big surprise to end the first round of the NFL draft. They traded up and added their newest player with the 32nd and final pick of the night.
With the 32nd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Xavier Legette, wide receiver, South Carolina.
That was NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell with a hard time pronouncing the name. It's actually Xavier Legette. Think Panthers get Legette. This was the moment Legette and his family learned that he would be the newest Carolina Panther. He gives quarterback Bryce Young another weapon to throw to. The Panthers traded the 33rd overall pick to Buffalo to get him.
UNC quarterback Drake May is on his way to New England. Patriots picked him 3rd overall in the draft. He was one of 5 quarterbacks taken in the top 10. That's the first time that has ever happened. Duke's Graham Barton also had his name called in the first round. Tampa Bay Buccaneers took the offensive lineman with the 26th pick in the draft. Coming up on What's Trending, some of the fashion that always draws attention at the draft. A big announcement as well from Eminem after his appearance on stage there.
Big news if you drive on NC 42 in the Cleveland community. The bridge over I-40 there will be closed all weekend. When it reopens Monday morning, it will be a diverging diamond interchange. This is part of the ongoing work to manage that high volume of traffic at NC 42 and I-40. That's also included moving the location of stoplights and adding a median to the highway. The growth there in Johnson County has led to traffic congestion in the area.
We have an exciting announcement this morning. WRAL is a proud partner with Downtown Raleigh Alliance to present Live After 5, a free summer concert series. With a focus on celebrating women in music, the 4-part summer music series will return to City Plaza on the last Wednesday of each month, May through August. The concerts will feature a mix of local female-led artists who will perform familiar music by Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Blondie, Dolly Parton, many more. The series finale in August will feature headliner Sixpence None the Richer.
A good playlist right there. The Canes are now 1 win away from moving to the next round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. They're now up 3-0 in their series with the New York Islanders after a 3-2 win last night in Game 3. They'll try to finish the sweep in Game 4 tomorrow afternoon at 2. Caniacs are understandably fired up about the team's success so far in these playoffs. And it's not just what's happening on the ice. Fans who talk to WRAL at Backyard Bistro say sports betting is giving them a whole new way to enjoy the games.
I bet that the third period is going to be the highest winning period, and I bet that Aho would score a goal, so fingers crossed.
Oh, it gets very specific in the betting. Sebastian Aho did get a goal for the Canes, but bad news for that fan when there were no goals in the third period. But they came out with the win. Fanatics Sportsbook is the Canes sports betting partner.
History is coming back to life at the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. Dueling Dinosaurs opens tomorrow, and WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is at the museum this morning. A lot of excitement over this one-of-a-kind exhibit, Kelsey.
Jeff, you and your family will have a chance to experience a live history lesson starting this weekend. So behind this window is the world's first open access paleontology lab. The Dueling Dinosaur exhibit features the remains of 2 dinosaurs that were buried millions of years ago, a T-Rex and a Triceratops. Over the next 4 to 5 years, scientists will carefully unveil the fossils, searching for clues about how those dinosaurs lived and how they died.
These animals, the preservation is exquisite. When they died and were buried, they were carcasses. So they had all their flesh on their body, all their organs and skin and muscles. And so every bone in the skeleton is preserved just as it would have been when the animal was alive.
Admission is free, but visitors are required to reserve their tickets. So the museum says 10,000 tickets have already been reserved, and tomorrow only will be first come, first serve access. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
A change of course from Orange County schools. A student who was told couldn't walk for graduation will now get that chance.
I told Jalen I would do whatever it takes to get him to walk across that stage.
And his mother is grateful for the reversal, which will allow her twin sons to graduate together.
From working the deli counter to the Olympic trials, a local Wake Forest man looking to fulfill an Olympic dream.
And it feels a little different this morning than it did yesterday. We're cloudy and cooler. It's even a little bit breezy, but we still have a big warm up in our forecast. I'll show you what's about to change coming up.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
6:12. It's a nice morning out there in terms of looking at Durham where the lights are up. I was trying to think of something nice to say about it. It's really not that nice. It's chilly out there. It's a little bit breezy and it's gray. It's not raining at least. But they still have the lights on here at the DBAP. It was Bark in the Park last night. They have a homestand all the way through the weekend. It looks nice and dry. It will be a little cool for the game this evening, but take advantage of that because, you know, in a couple of months, it's just going to be hot, hot, hot. 49 in Raleigh, 51 in Fayetteville. The breeze is making it feel a little chilly, so you'll be more comfortable in a jacket as you're heading out the door this morning. When you take a look at the cloud cover, we're really socked in right now, but later this afternoon, we may see a few breaks in the clouds. I'll walk you through that on Futurecast coming up.
Elizabeth here in the WRAL Breaking News Tracking Center, and we continue to follow this breaking news here on the Beltline at Lake Boone Trail. A serious crash that happened around 3 o'clock this morning. You can see traffic is being diverted onto Lake Boone Trail. Your best bet to avoid this altogether, depending on where you're coming from, Wake Forest Road, Six Forks Road, possibly. If you're in this mess and you get off of Lake Boone Trail, you can pick up Blue Ridge Road, and that'll get you around and get you back on track as well. Elsewhere around the triangle, nothing but free and clear that's happening this morning around our sensors. We'll keep monitoring it for anything that pops up.
Ken, thanks. A Durham police officer is in the hospital after being badly hurt in a crash. The two-car crash happened just after 5 yesterday evening at the intersection of Linwood Avenue and South Alston Avenue. Durham police say the officer was seriously hurt but is expected to recover. It's unclear which driver was at fault and if anyone else was hurt.
We have an update to a story we brought you yesterday morning. We now know that Jalen Sorrells will be allowed to walk across the stage with his twin brother at Orange High School's graduation. The Orange County school system originally said Jalen couldn't participate in that ceremony because he was also enrolled at the Partnership Academy. They have since changed that decision. Jalen's mother shared the good news with us.
I'm glad that this is over. I didn't want it to go this far, but I told Jalen I would do whatever it takes to get him to walk across that stage. And that's, I promised him that, and that's what I did.
She thanked our viewers and the community for their overwhelming support for her son. Jalen plans to play football at Mars Hill University.
From the deli line to the starting line at the Paris Olympics, Dylan Beard is a name to watch this summer. He shocked thousands and himself when he qualified for the hurdling Olympic trials that will take place in June. WRAL's Michelle McConaughey joins us now with this inspiring story that comes right out of Wake Forest. Michelle, this is incredible.
Oh my goodness, it's an amazing story. 25-year-old Dylan Beard, he lives in Wake Forest, and by day he trains by jumping over hurdles on the track at NC State, and by night he's working the deli counter at a local Walmart. He doesn't have a sponsor and didn't even qualify for the NCAA Outdoor Championship while he was at Howard University, but he qualified for the Olympic trials. Beard has been breaking records ever since he was a teen in Baltimore, and earlier this year, much to his surprise, he won the men's 60 meters hurdle at the Millrose Games in New York, and that's when he knew he was a pretty big deal. His unlikely trip to the Olympic trials is not cheap, so Beard is funding his training at NC State and Raleigh by working at the deli at Walmart. Beard is hoping to fulfill his Olympic dream. We will be rooting for him. You can hear more of his story coming up on today at 7 a.m.
A lot of festivals happening this weekend.
Yeah, but let's start with one that's big with beer fans. Boogaloo Festival in Raleigh. The beer festival gets started tonight on Fayetteville Street with the sampling event from 6 to 10. There will be limited releases of barrel-aged beers and sours. The main event is tomorrow from noon to 8. More than 100 craft breweries from North Carolina will be there, along with local food trucks and vendors.
Fayetteville Dogwood Festival is happening all weekend. Things get kicked off tonight in Festival Park. It continues tomorrow and Sunday. There'll be live music, food trucks, carnival rides, much more. Admission is free. It's super fun down there.
Tomorrow, the town of Cary will host its annual Spring Days Arts and Crafts Festival at Bond Park. From 9 to 5, there will be 3 stages of entertainment and live music, as well as a vendor market featuring more than 170 artists. So a lot to see and do there. Admission is free. For more on these events and others happening this weekend, just head to the Out and About page on WRAL.com. It is a packed weekend with all those festivals, and the weather looks like it will cooperate for all of that.
We'll get some of these clouds kicked out of here before the heat next week. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look around town.
Yeah, you know, it's always something. So it's going to be cloudy today and tomorrow. Temperatures will be pretty pleasant. But next week, we're back to sunshine, and it's going to be hot. So, you know, which one do you like? I kind of like it being a little bit cool because, you know, once that heat settles in, at some point, it's going to be with us for months. We take a live look in Goldsboro and Apex, as well as Chapel Hill, courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant. You can see the gray skies now as our sun is coming up, and it's gray in Fayetteville there too, right there at our newsroom. Let's take a look at the big picture. We have a high pressure system up in the northeast. High pressure systems rotate clockwise, so that high is pushing in cool, damp air off the North Atlantic, and that's what's helping to develop this deck of clouds. You can see it here on Futurecast. We'll kick things off right now and roll it on out to lunchtime, and we're going to be cloudy through lunchtime. During the afternoon, there may be a few holes in the clouds. There could also be a quick sprinkle. We're looking at maybe 40 to 50% of coverage of clouds later in the afternoon. So that will feel a little more pleasant. You know, it's going to look like it's likely to rain, but we're not going to see anything measurable today. Our drought monitor yesterday expanded our abnormally dry conditions from the eastern part of the viewing area all the way across the entire viewing area and back to Greensboro. Now, technically, abnormally dry conditions are not anything to be too concerned about, but we're going in the wrong direction. We're seeing it expanding instead of shrinking. And very dry conditions through the end of the month is having an impact. You can see here on our calendar, most of the rain that we saw was the first 2 weeks and very light. We've had less than an inch of rain at RDU. For the year, where our deficit is about 1.5 inches, and that's the same deficit that we're seeing in April. So it's really become a problem just in the last month or so. The lower than normal rainfall for the last several weeks and the abnormally warm temperatures are bringing us what we call a flash drought. It's kind of like a flash flood, but it's a drought situation that is developing very rapidly. Hopefully we'll end up changing that soon, but it's not likely to be this week. We have 0 chance of rain all the way through the middle of this coming week. It does make for some nice conditions to be out and about. Our spring days forecast for Bond Park and Cary, temperatures are going to be cool tomorrow. It'll be cloudy, but we will make it into the mid-70s during the afternoon. Saturday night, the Courage plays the rain at home. Temperatures will be dropping into the 60s. It will be dry, but mostly cloudy. At the Dogwood Festival, mostly cloudy Saturday, but 77, partly cloudy Sunday at 82. Sunday looks like a beautiful day across the entire viewing area with those low 80s, but then we're into the upper 80s next week. I'll show you which days are closest to records. Coming up, Ken.
Elizabeth, we continue to follow that breaking news right there on the Beltline at Lake Boone Trail. You can see as the sun comes up, you can see how dangerous and how much backed up it is right now. This is because of a serious crash that happened around 3 o'clock this morning. Traffic is being diverted onto Lake Boone Trail. Your best bet as we look at our sensors this morning to get around this mess is to maybe after you get off of Lake Boone Trail, pick a Blue Ridge Road, and that will get you around it. Depending on where else you are, you might use Wake Forest Road or Six Forks Road to get around this mess. We'll keep monitoring here in the WRAL Traffic Center.
Thanks, Ken. There's big change coming to a busy Johnston County road. The new traffic pattern coming Monday that is designed to reduce congestion at a major interchange.
And guess who's back? Eminem's appearance at the NFL Draft was just the precursor to a huge announcement. That's coming up in What's Trending.
My palms are already sweaty. And here are your winning lottery numbers on your screen right now.
This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug & Home.
Today in What's Trending, Eminem's appearance at the NFL Draft was just the start of a big night for him.
Huge. The Detroit rapper opened the show and then he made an announcement of his own. Shortly after he came out on stage to hype up the crowd to get the draft started in his hometown, he released this teaser video for his new album called The death of Slim Shady. It is due to come out this summer. I'll be sad to see Slim Shady go.
Yeah, well, that was so 90s, I mean, he's 51, he's making new music, a new era for him. So he had that one shot, one opportunity to make that announcement.
And he did it.
Fashion is always a big part of the draft. Check out the huge medallion around the neck of wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., who was picked fourth. A closer look reveals it has Simba and Mufasa from The Lion King on one side. There you go. And on the other, it's him and his father, Hall of Famer Marvin Harrison Sr.
Yeah, his dad played in the NFL for a long time. And before the draft, he just told him, be yourself, son. And then he said, I want to be like you, Dad. I want to get in the Hall of Fame somehow. But first receiver taken overall, fourth pick. Pretty cool.
Of that father-son symbolism there.
Always a statement. There's a live look right now at Wallace Simpson Whirligig Park in Wilson this morning. The whirligigs, we see them spin all year. We show you this shot all the time, but it's not as effortless as it may seem. Right now, there are 3 of those whirligigs in the shop for maintenance. There's a team of conservationists to check on the whirligigs, 2 to 4 times a year or so, quarterly. Maintaining them costs between $120,000 to $200,000 a year, and the 3 that were taken down will be reinstalled next week.
The Carolina Panthers got a pick in the first round of the NFL draft after all. Their late night move to trade up and grab a player they hope will be a future star.
Walking out the door to cloud cover this morning, but it may not stick with us all day. This afternoon, the models are showing the clouds breaking up. I'll show you why that could happen coming up.
Also breaking news we're following out of Raleigh this morning. Part of I-440, the Beltline, is closed. It's shut down after a car ran into a dump truck there. Nick Perlin is in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker with the new information we learned in just the last 10 minutes.